Mic'd up with Jake and Kyle coming to you on a Thursday. That is right. The Royals, well, we told you this yesterday. I told you this yesterday. I said, bet the Marlins to win because Jordan Lyles is pitching. Did I not say that, Kyle? I said, you have a chance to make money. Here is your opportunity. The Royals lost. Get swept by the Marlins. We're not going to really talk about the start a whole lot. Lyles was good up until, seventh inning. And then maybe a bad decision by Contreras to keep him out there one more inning. It sure looks like that. And the Royals ended up losing, and the losing continues. But we've got lots to discuss today. The Big 12 going international. Yes, that is right. We will get to that. The bucket of nugs. That's right, the Nuggets. Take care of business. We will get to some NBA Finals talk. We will talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to hear from Andy Reid. We're going to hear from Justin Reid. We'll hear from Juwan Taylor. They are going to meet with the media as OTAs conclude today. Mandatory minicamp coming up next week. Got a little start bench cut. We will get to a lot of different topics here on this edition of Mic'd Up. Jake Levon along with Kyle Manthe still filling in for Fulton Caster. As always, let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Check us out on our YouTube page. Very simple, very easy. Go to youtube.com/@sportson580. It's sportson580. Check us out on Twitter as well. You can go to our website, 580wmaw.com. Check out everything going on as we got so much to discuss today on this Thursday edition. The Royals lost yesterday. They still stink. Not a surprise. Miami wins it 6-1. Very similar to the game. Actually, it's the exact same score as the previous game. So I gave you just, it's almost like insider information, but it's really not. That, hey, you know what? When the Royals pitch Jordan Lyles, they don't win. It's just how it works. Gave up 5 runs in 7 innings. Was good through 6, but the Royals fall to the Marlins. It is an off day today. The Royals then head to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. But this is what I wanted to talk about today. I watched few minutes of the game yesterday when the Royals were down 2-1 in the 7th, and then I was watching the basketball game. But as the game was going on, when Jordan Lyles is now, and this is hilarious. It is. I think it's funny, and even though it's my baseball team, I cheer for him. It's still funny. That is the longest losing streak in starts made by a specific pitcher in Royals history. You got to clap for that. Like, do you know how specially bad you got to be for that to happen? He's made 13 starts as a Royal. The Royals have lost all 13 games. Also, Jordan Lyles is 0-10. Record-wise, 0-10. This is from Randy Gizzarelli. Here is a list of pitchers in baseball who have an 0-10 record at any point in the last 30 seasons. From 1994 till now. Jordan Lyles, 0-10, and Anthony Reyes back in 2007. This is nuts. This is going 0-10. It's not the equivalent of like flipping heads like 7 straight times, but it almost pretty much is. It's only happened one other time in the last 30 years that a pitcher has started 0-10. One of those days, your offense gets going. One of those days, your team, you pitch well and your team squeaks it out, or you pitch terrible, but the guy across from you pitches so much worse that you just run into one, right? That is what it is incredible about this Jordan Lyles situation. Oh, and 13. Even myself, who likes to poke fun of, hey, well, Jordan Lyles is due, right? He's due for a win. This is a special kind of suck, man. It really is. So while this was going on, I was thinking to myself, what has gone wrong for the Royals this year? How much exactly has gone wrong? Can we quantify what has gone wrong? All right. Kyle, you're a Royals fan. You like the Royals. I mean, they're your team. Let's put it that way, okay? They're your team. Here is what I would say has gone wrong for the Royals. But then I also did what has gone right for the Royals, okay? How did we get to this spot, right? We had the questions and everything, the 5 biggest questions, Singer get it done, can Lynch do this, right? Can those 5 questions. But on this team, it's kind of like the Simpsons episode of when Mr. Burns brings in all of the stud MLB guys. He brings in Ken Griffey Jr. He brings in, Steve Sachs, and he brings in all these guys, and not everybody can end up, hurt, and they don't. 8 of them end up in some type of negative way. I don't know all of them. Dan probably knows that to memory because he loves The Simpsons. But I know, Steve Sachs couldn't do it because he, didn't shave his sideburns or something. And then King Griffey Jr., fell into a different dimension or something like that. But then Darryl Strawberry was awesome, right? Not all 9 guys can end up not playing for Mr. Burns. And I got to thinking, not everyone has been bad. But the more and more I look at this, in order for the Royals to have win 70 games this year, they needed more to go right than to go wrong. And that has not happened. Here is what I have come up with that has gone wrong for the Royals. Kyle, please interject if you disagree with one of these, okay? These are not ranked. These are just simply things that have gone wrong and why the Royals have lost 78 games. They're not. They've lost 44 games. But they're 18-44. Here's what I got. Brady Singer has taken a step back for now. He has. Now, he's pitched a little bit better as of late, but to get to this point right now, it's gone wrong. Plain and simple. There's no other way you can slice that, right? You can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. So Brady Singer not taking the next step. Daniel Lynch didn't pitch for 2 months because he got hurt. Bobby Witt Jr.'s bat hasn't done what we'd like it to do in year 2. MJ Melendez looks lost. Drew Waters didn't play for 2 months. Brad Keller was so bad and now he's on the IL. But Brad Keller was so bad. Remember, he's got this new sweeper. Oh, man, this thing is just awesome. He went up to Driveline. Hey, new pitching coaching staff. We're going to change Brad Keller. Wrong. Edward Olivares cannot field a ball. He can't. He can't field a baseball. Chris Bubich had Tommy John surgery. Kyle Isbell wasn't producing, and he pulled his hamstring, and he's been out for a month. Jordan Lyles is so bad that they haven't won a game with the guy that they gave a 2-year contract with. Franmil Reyes got DFA'd because he was so bad at the plate. Hunter Dozier was so bad that they're deciding to just give him $12 million to go away. Nate Eaton cannot hit a baseball. Like, he really can't. He struck out like 25 times and 50-some at-bats. This is the one that is maybe the most unfortunate. Brian Yarbrough got hit in the face with a baseball and is on the 60-day IL. But that was one of the Royals pitchers that they went out and signed. And then last but not least, to put a cherry on top for the Royals, is that John Sherman has handled this new stadium situation absolutely awful. I mean, terrible. That's what's gone wrong. That's just it. That's it right there. Right? Do you agree with all those, Kyle? Or are we on board with all that?
It's hard not to agree with him when 9 out of 10 of those are bad player has played bad this season. You didn't even touch on Jackie Bradley Jr.
See, I didn't touch on Jackie Bradley Jr. because he was brought in because of other things. Like, no one expected Jackie Bradley Jr. to be on there. So I came up with 15 things that have gone wrong. And those 15 things are damn important. Singer, Lynch, Melendez, Waters, Keller, Bubich, Isbell, Lyles, Dozier, Yarbrough. I mean, some of those, not a huge deal. Like Olivares can't field a ground ball. That's not it. Nate Eaton probably is on that, or Franmil Reyes. But, all those things have gone bad. Some of them really bad. Now, some of them not terrible. But the reason why we're at this situation right now is because of all that. 15 things, right? That's 15 things that have gone wrong for the Royals this year in my mind. Like the Jackie Bradley Jr. Doesn't really matter. Like Nicky Lopez getting, an appendicitis. I could throw that in there as well, to be honest with you. But how big of a deal is Nicky Lopez? Let's be real. Carlos Hernandez. I mean, he's been okay, not terrible, but it hadn't gone right for Carlos Hernandez. That type of thing. So there's some that are not wrong, that are not right, like Greinke. Greinke's been okay, hadn't been great, hadn't been awful. Massey, hadn't been great, hadn't been awful. He's had a good, May. Same thing with Maikel Garcia. He hasn't been great, hadn't been awful. They're kind of like neutral. They're kind of like Switzerland. We're on the fence, right? So I got 15 things that are wrong. What has actually gone right? What can you say right now on June the 8th when the Royals right now are 18-44 and the only team that they are above is a team that is not even a real team? I really don't know. Do they actually pay the players? Are they like Antonio Brown and his, indoor football league and they don't even play them? Like, are we living in a simulation? Here are the things that have gone right for this 18-win ball club. Nick Pratto. Nick Pratto is hitting it well, and he can play left field. That's gone right. We know he can play first base. Excellent first base. That's gone right. Vinny Pasquantino has had a good year. Yes, Vinny Pasquantino has had a good year. He's in a little mini slump right now, but even in his mini slump, Vinny Pasquantino right now is still the second best hitter for the Royals. Okay? Still the second best hitter for the Royals. All right? Other things that have gone well. Salvador Perez is still crushing the damn baseball. I mean, Salvador Perez got 12 home runs. He's due for a home run here soon. But Salvador Perez, his OPS for a catcher is 800, and he's 33 years old. Salvador Perez. That's why I kind of don't want him to trade Salvador Perez, because I like Salvador Perez. I mean, how do you not like Salvador Perez? If you don't like Salvador Perez, I don't like you. He's gone. He's gone well, right? So we got Vinny, we got Pratto, we got Sal. Aroldis Chapman. It was a good risk. It's worked out. Now the whole hope is that he doesn't suck and you don't overuse him. That's the main point now. They haven't been in a chance for him to really pitch because they are not really winning close games. So, but Aroldis Chapman, that has gone well. Scott Barlow Barlow's pitched well, blown a couple games, but overall, Scotty Barlow has pitched well. And then Bobby Witt Jr. playing shortstop. I know that's not great to say here recently because he's made some errors, maybe not made some plays, but overall, Bobby Witt Jr. has been pretty good. That's all I got. Prado, Pasquantino, Perez. Maybe if your name started with a P, then you're good for the Royals. With Prado, Pasquantino, and Perez. Do we have anybody else whose name starts with a P? Anybody? Bueller? No, it doesn't look like it. We need more people who starts with a P. Aroldis and like, am I missing anything? Like for real? Like, am I missing anything else that you would consider has gone well? All right. Michael Garcia, is not well, right? He's not hitting the ball well. I can't put a guy who's hitting, 250, and has a OPS plus of 89. I can't put that as well. I'm sorry. I just can't do that. Bobby Witt Jr. is below average right now. Like, I can't even give it to Bobby. No starting pitcher. I can't do that. Like, maybe Taylor Clark, who's been okay. Is that one I'm missing?
You can give a shout out to Taylor.
Okay,
he has a sub 3 ERA, 28 innings.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
solid.
Okay, so we want to move Taylor Clark from neutral to it's gone right. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. He's kind of the one who you would say yes, that has gone well. But that's it, man. They've got 3 guys hitting and 3 guys pitching on a team of 26 people. And really it's about 33 people because you've got guys who got hurt. But I mean, if you think about it, the key guys for the Royals this year who needed to be good for this team to win, outside of 3 guys, 3 out of what? 15? Like, the most important people were Singer, Lynch, Bobby Witt Jr., Melendez, Waters, Keller, Bubich, Lyles. All 8 of those guys not getting it done. And then toss in, Yarbrough. Greinke hasn't been dominant, but he hasn't been bad. Hernandez, you were hoping to take a step forward for what he did in the College World Series, the World Baseball Classic. I mean, there's only 3 guys who have been good that you were counting on. That's it. It has been so bad. There's so much bad. Like, most of the time, like, it evens out. Like, 8 guys are bad, 8 guys are good. Like, normally be like, oh, wow, well, Singer was really good, or Waters played well, or Bubich pitched well. Like, out of the 15 guys that they needed to be good, only 4 of them are any good. Oh, man, it's been a disaster. That's a lot of bad. Coming up next, we'll get to the Nuggets taking care of business. And fun fact, I'm going to gloat again. Yeah, I was right. How many threes did the Heat hit? Well, they lost. We'll get to that coming up next. many threes did the Miami Heat hit yesterday, Kyle? Well, I'll have to give you the answer. They hit 9. Now, the final box score says 11, but that's kind of like, a lot of the passing yards that Deshaun Watson has gotten in his career in garbage time. Game was decided. It was over. They made 9 threes. They made 9. Is that 17? No, does not. Fun fact, when the Miami Heat don't make 17 threes, they score 94 points a game. I just want everybody to know that when the Miami Heat don't hit 17 threes, they score 94 points. Game 1, they did not make 17 threes. They scored 93. Do you realize how hard it's going to be to win a basketball game against the Nuggets scoring 93 points? Do you know how hard it's going to be when the Heat score 94 points to win a game against the Nuggets? It's not going to happen. It's not. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Nuggets aren't even shooting it that well. The Heat made 17 threes and won by 3 and needed to hold on. There is one way and one way only that the Heat win. Shoot a ton of threes. I don't even know why you're trying. You're going to get cooked. Nikola Jokic is awesome. First person ever to go 30, 20, 10 in a finals game. He's got 2 of the 5 all time in the playoffs. Jokic is a beast. And Jamal Murray, low-key, was awesome. Christian Brown, how cool was that? 15 points for the Burlington native. Coming up, we will get some big news. The Big 12 heading south.
WIBW Topeka, FM 104.9.
No Royals baseball today. Thank goodness. Off today. Back on the road tomorrow, taking on the Baltimore Orioles. We will hear from Andy Reid. He's supposed to speak to the media around 1 o'clock. We'll get that at the bottom of the 1 o'clock hour. Everyone loves the list today. I want some participation in this. This could be kind of fun. It is National Karen Day today. Just anybody named Karen. It's your day today. But we also know that Karen has another type of meaning, right? I don't know when this started. Do you know when, like, the term, being a Karen? Stop being a Karen. You know what I mean? I don't know when that started.
I think it was sometime around 5 or 6 years ago. Really picked up around COVID.
Yeah. So we are going to go with the most cringe spots to be at when someone goes, I'm using quotes here, Karen. Now, I think a Karen can be a guy too. Or is that in terms of you're being a Chad, right?
Those are different meanings.
Okay. I thought kind of the Karen, but you can be like a Karen in a lot of situations. Okay. But yeah, we're gonna go with Karen. Or have you ever been in a situation where someone was going full Karen?
I'm sure I have.
Oh, I have, and I can think of it so clearly.
I try to push it out of my mind, out of secondhand embarrassment.
I just enjoy. It's like watching a safer car wreck is what it is, because hopefully no one's gonna get hurt and the Karen doesn't go too far, but you can't help you just can't help for just laugh. So I want to know the situation when it's the worst for a Karen to go full Karen. Don't ever be a Karen. So we got that coming up for our list today on National Karen Day. We'll hear from Andy Reid, Justin Reed, Juwan Taylor, all of that coming up today here on this edition of Mic'd Up. But how about this? The Big 12 is going international. That is right. The Big 12 and Mexico. Brett Yormark said we are open for business, and Brett Yormark is doing just that. How about it? It was kind of reported a little bit yesterday, but today made official. Today, the Big 12 Conference announced the launch of Big 12 Mexico, the conference's first international extension that will see Big 12 men and women's basketball, women's soccer, and baseball games held in Mexico. Big 12 Mexico's first contest will be a men's and women's basketball matchup between Kansas and Houston, held in Mexico City at the Arena CDMX. That will be in December of 2024. Okay. Following the launch of Big 12 basketball in Mexico, the Big 12 women's soccer and baseball teams will club from the on some Mexico teams. Additionally, the Big 12 will explore establishing a football bowl game in Monterrey starting in 2026. This will be the first ever bowl game ever held in Mexico. Now, that's false, okay? That is false because they've held bowl games in Mexico before, maybe not at the Division I level, but in the Division II level, they have. So they actually have had bowl games in Mexico. And in fact, it was like the Aztec Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was the Aztec Bowl. And in fact, I think Washburn played in that thing one year, to be honest with you. Yeah, Washburn did. They played in that game. That's what I thought. That's what I was trying to remember. So there has been a football bowl game before. It was just in Division 2. So I thought Washburn played in a bowl game. So that is the release coming from the Big 12. According to Brett Yormark, in the release, Mexico is a natural extension to the Big 12 footprint, and I'm thrilled to introduce Big 12 Mexico as the conference's first ever international presence, said Brett Yormark. Through Big 12 Mexico, our student athletes have the opportunity to compete in an international setting and for our conference to have the chance to showcase our brand across Mexico. Says leading up to the launch, Big 12 Mexico and throughout 2023, Fox Sports, ESPN will help the Big 12 product across Mexico and Spanish-speaking communities. The Big 12 will be teaming up with a entertainment agency out of Mexico. It says beyond hosting conference games across multiple sports, Big 12 Mexico will see the conference execute a variety of outreach programs. 5 current and future Big 12 conference campuses, Baylor, Houston, Texas, TCU, Texas Tech, are located less than 400 miles away from Mexico. While the University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, we can get rid of Texas and Oklahoma here. Come on, Brett. I get they're a part of the conference right now. They ain't part of the future. Tell them to kick rocks. So, the very first game, Kansas and Houston in men's and women's basketball will be held in Mexico City in December of 2024. So not this year, but next year. All right. Here's my very first initial thought of this. Brett Yormark is doing what we asked him to do. Make the Big 12 relevant. Make the Big 12 money. And that's what he's doing. He already got a good TV deal. He's trying to make moves. He's trying to do things differently, okay? When you are not the cream of the crop, when you are not the Big Ten and the SEC, you've got to do things a little bit differently, right? That's how the Royals won a World Series. They did it differently then. The Royals went, right? Keep the line moving. We had a bunch of guys who were athletic, could steal bases, play defense. That wasn't the norm. Oh, yeah, and by the way, they had arguably one of the best bullpens in the history of baseball. They did it different. They turned it into a 6-inning game instead of a 9-inning game. They did it differently. The Big 12 does not have the numbers or the institutions that the Big Ten and the SEC have. No matter what happens, the Big 12 will never have a Michigan. They'll never have an Ohio State. They'll never have an Alabama, a Georgia when it comes to football. And the fan bases who are diehard here, I know plenty of KU and K-Staters who are diehard, but there are more of them in the South. There are more of them in Ohio and in Michigan. Okay, that's just the way it works. You've got to do things different. This is doing things different. So that's the first thing. This does not shock me. This shouldn't shock you because this is what Brett Yormark, he's not the typical college athletic director, he's not the Bob Bowlesby, okay? Bob Bowlesby was the 80th Stanford, and then he came to the Big 12, right? It's different. Trying to do things a little differently, trying to draw things a little bit different. That was my first thought process of this. Secondly, a bowl game in Monterrey, Mexico, I think would be pretty cool. If you don't know where Monterrey, Mexico is, they have it's a big city. I think it might be the third biggest city in Mexico behind Mexico City and Guadalajara, I'm guessing. It's a pretty substantial city, to be honest with you. They got a lot of people. Okay. Maybe not, but I think it's at least, top 5, top 10. It's a big city. But the stadium that they have there, I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if you've heard of this, Kyle. The stadium that they have, the Estadio BBVA, it might be one of the best stadiums in North America. It's awesome. And the setting around it is the mountains. It's where one of the best soccer teams play at. I'm assuming that's where they're going to hold it. I wouldn't know why you would go to Monterrey and not play at the Estadio BBVA Stadium. But it's where Monterrey and Liga MX, which is their Mexican soccer league, kind of like our MLS. But it's an awesome stadium. I think that would be cool. I do. Monterrey is not far from the United States. In fact, I bet Monterrey, Mexico is closer to San Antonio than like Houston is to Dallas, I bet. It's not far. I mean, it really isn't. So that does not surprise me. Yeah, it's a 5-hour drive. I mean, to go to San Antonio to Lubbock is a 6-hour drive. So that's kind of cool. What I absolutely can't stand about this, and I hate it, and I hate it, and I hate it, and I'm staying consistent with this. I don't like taking home games away from teams, especially in conference. That's what I do not like. From the text line, so these games in Mexico won't count in the standings, correct? No, I think they will, because it's going to be a conference game. You don't play a conference opponent in the non-conference. That's not how it works. So I'm assuming these will count. There's nothing in this release that says it won't. I mean, it's pretty clear cut that this is going to count. Now, these games are KU and Houston. I don't see this being a KU home game going to Mexico City, okay? This is a Houston home game that's going to go to Mexico City. There's zero chance that KU would be on board with losing a home conference game. They are KU, all right? They're essentially the Dallas Cowboys or the Green Bay Packers. They ain't playing overseas, all right? That's just not how it works. But this is what Bill Self had to say today. Behind Commissioner Brett Yormark, the Big 12 is doing a lot to expand the conference brand. And one way they're doing this is by playing a game in Mexico City. Kelvin Sampson has built Houston back to a national power, and this should be a great matchup. We're excited to play a game in Mexico City and represent the Big 12. That's what Bill Self had to say today in a release. Same thing on the women's side of things. Brandon Schneider said, basketball is a global game, and I commend Commissioner Yormark for the Big 12 for expanding the league's reach into Mexico. We look forward to the challenge, competing against Houston and playing in Mexico City. I don't like taking away home games. I don't like neutral site games. I've said that when KU and Wichita State are going to agree on a game and they're going to play that thing in Kansas City. I can't stand that. I hate it. I don't even like it that they're going to play it at Intrust when it does come back around. Play it at Coke. The college football playoff, the fact that they use bowl games, I hate that. Put them at the conference sites. Put them at the schools. Playing road games can be fun. I always enjoyed going on the road and playing against Pittsburgh State, playing against Northwest Missouri State. Playing the road can be fun. Plus, it's a home game. You're taking a home game away from Houston. That sucks to me. I don't like that. I don't know how well attended this is going to be. I have no idea. Will it be sold out? Are enough people interested in KU basketball? Now, it's not a surprise that KU's going down there. Oh, we need a brand? How about one of the best brands in all of college basketball? Right? If the SEC were going to do this, guess what basketball team they were going to pick? Kentucky. That's right. The ACC did this. Hello, North Carolina. Hello, Duke. Congratulations. You're going to be playing down there. Now, we're not going to cost you a home game, but that's the only thing I don't like. Neutral site games should be played for championships, like the NCAA tournament. Perfectly fine, neutral site there, right? You want to play the final two games in college football, like the semifinals and finals at both sites? Not a problem. Every other game should be at the team who had the better record or the better seed. And it should be at home. You should get rewarded, just like you get rewarded in the NCAA tournament. If you are one of the top 10 teams, guess what? You're playing close to home. Most of the time that works out, unless you're KU and you play at the Sprint Center, T-Mobile Center. You know what I mean? So it does sound like that this is going to make this happen when it comes to basketball. It's going to be KU and Houston in 2024. Now, the text line, so they're not exhibition games. The exhibition games, I believe, are going to be the baseball games. It says Big 12 women's soccer and baseball will participate in exhibition games against clubs from the region. So I think basketball, they are conference games. Soccer and baseball are exhibitions against clubs from the region. So I'm assuming from around that area. I don't know the college landscape and the college teams and all of that in Mexico. But I'm assuming that's going to be the case. I think the bowl game is cool. I mean, you're going to the Bahamas. What? So put one in Monterey. Like that stadium's excellent. It's state of the art. It's a newer stadium. Relatively easy to get to be honest with you. I mean, what is it? K-State played in the Cayman Islands for basketball. If they're playing a bowl game in the Bahamas, why can't you play a bowl game in Mexico? I got no problem with this. But the Big 12 is doing it. Like the Big 12 is putting this on. That's interesting. So good stuff, at least from the Big 12 when trying to make this work, trying to generate brand and money. That's what Brett Yormark was said to do. If you are upset about this and you are angry about this, then I hope you are very anti and against the decision to hire Brett Yormark. Because if you're angry about this, you better say, I didn't want Brett Yormark and his style, philosophy, vision with the Big 12. Because this is it. You want to expand your brand. You want to do something differently. We're talking about a new logo re-out, a new brand, everything. That's what Brett Yormark came to the Big 12 to do. Pretty simple. We'll get a quick timeout. Coming up next, we'll finish off this noon hour here on Mic'd Up. Jacob on along with Kyle Manthe. Kyle filling in, beg your pardon, for Fulton Caster. Fulton's still out fishing. I believe he has caught a few more fish. Now, it says here he's caught up to 15 fish. Kyle, I'm under the belief of picks or it didn't happen. And the two pictures that he did send to me on Monday were the smallest bluegill I've ever seen. And I'm not totally convinced that they were different fish.
That's what I was going to say. Is it the same fish, just at a different angle?
That's what I'm wondering. Let's look here. He sent the fish to our text thread of us four. And it looks like the same fish. Look, I get that a lot of fish look similar, right? I like to give the benefit of the doubt, but 15, and no video, no timestamps, no nothing. Fulton, yeah, maybe he's got the photos. And maybe he can take them. But also, how do we not know that one of his friends or, family members caught it and then gave it to Fulton and Fulton held it up? Fulton would do that because he claims to be this, excellent fisherman. But anyways, we got plenty more to get to. We've got the list of the best or worst situations when a Karen goes full Karen, because today is National Karen Day. National Karen Day. So we got that coming up. As always, we're going to hear Andy Reid, actually, I believe, just started speaking with the media. So we're going to hear from Big Red coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll hear from Justin Reid, the safety, and Jawan Taylor, the new right tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. All that coming up the final 2 hours on this edition of Mic'd Up. Check us out on our text line, 785-272-9429. Go to our YouTube page. Very simple, very easy. YouTube.com/@sportson580. From the YouTube comments, the Big 12 in Mexico will be cool. It sucks someone has to lose a home game. Yeah, exactly. I mean, KU going down there, cool. Why not? I'll tell you this, it's going to be like playing in Denver, man. That altitude at Mexico City, that ain't no joke. That is no joke. But we're going to get to some Chiefs discussion. News today coming out of the NFL world. Dalvin Cook, running back for the Minnesota Vikings, is going to be released by Minnesota. Dalvin Cook has played 6 years in the NFL. Been pretty durable outside of his rookie year. But he's had over 1,100 yards rushing in the last last 4 seasons. His touchdowns have gone down a little bit because Minnesota have been throwing the football a little bit more. But Dalvin Cook going to be released. Let me say this for everybody right now. No, the Chiefs should not go and sign Dalvin Cook. No need. Why are you going after Dalvin Cook? Makes no sense. You have 3 running backs. You have Isaiah Pacheco. You've got Jerick McKinnon. And you've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. All 3 of them, I'm going to guess, this is just off the top of my head. I'll look it up here just a second. I'm going to guess that all 3 of them combine for $6 million against the cap. That's what I'm going to guess. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is $3.4 million to the cap. We do know that Isaiah Pacheco is going to cost you less than $1 million. His is, let's see here, 870. So not much. And then McKinnon's is $1 million. Yeah, around $6 million. $3 million, I think a little bit over $6 million. $3 million for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, last year of his rookie deal, because he did not pick up his fifth-year option. McKinnon's going to cost $1 million. And then Isaiah Pacheco will cost you around $1 million. There you go. To be honest with you, starting to get a little bit over the hill. That's kind of mean to say at the age of 27, but he'll be 28 years old this upcoming year. You don't need Dalvin Cook. You've got 3 running backs. This isn't like DeAndre Hopkins, okay? First of all, DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think is washed. Number 2, he plays a much more impactful position, whereas 7th round rookies like Isaiah Pacheco can be good running backs, whereas 7th round wide receivers, those don't. So that's the reason why I am very anti don't sign Dalvin Cook. Why would you even think about it? The one guy that I would be interested in, okay? Now, this is one thing that you can put your GM hat on, and you can always think about this, okay? The Commanders are interested in, or at least hearing offers from Chase Young, the defensive end. Now, we talked about this when it comes to Chase Young a little bit earlier because, if they pick up his 5th-year option, then you can maybe trade for him. But Chase Young was the rookie of the year in 2020. Then he got hurt at the end of the 2021 season. And this last year, he played in 2 games and really didn't do anything that was just at the end of the year, trying to get him some reps. So they're interested in trading Chase Young. What makes this unique is it's really a 1-year rental. You get Chase Young, the defensive rookie of the year in 2020. He had 7.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 12 QB hits, 3 fumble recoveries, even scored a touchdown. I mean, that was your defensive rookie of the year. He had a good year. Everybody was excited about it, then got hurt. Chiefs have 4 defensive ends if you include Omenihu as a defensive end. Omenihu and Dana, 2 veterans. If you want to consider Dana a veteran. And then you got Karlaftis and Felix and Udike Uzama as your younger guys. That's if you include Omenihu. If not, if you include him as the defensive lineman, then they only have 3. I don't count Malik Herring. I'm sorry. It's a 1-year rental for a guy who is coming off an injury. Now, that injury was in 21 at the end of the year, and it was a bad one. Would you give up a draft capital for a rookie for a 1-year rental this upcoming year? I'd be interested in it. A 7th round pick, conditional 7th to a 6th if he produces. I think I might be interested in that. And the one reason why it's not a complete slam dunk for the Kansas City Chiefs to, hey, go see what the Commanders would be willing to get. I don't know why the Commanders just don't play him. They obviously don't think he has a future with the Commanders, which is why that they're not going to pay him after this year, it looks like. So, hey, we might as well try to get a lottery ticket, if you will. So, when I always break down trades, it's really, really simple, right? The Kadarius Toney trade. We'll give you a third-round pick for Kadarius Toney. So, we'll give you 4 years of cheap labor in the third round for 2.5 years of Kadarius Toney. They were wanting to get rid of Kadarius Toney, and the Chiefs said, bring him on. So they got a half year last year, then they can do 2 more years after that, plus even the 5th year option. Right? Would you rather have Chase Young for 1 year or Nick Jones for 4? He's the most recent 7th round pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. But then it could also be this. Would you rather have Chase Young for 1 year or Isaiah Pacheco for 4 years? I'd rather have Isaiah Pacheco for 4 years. Would you rather have Chase Young for 1 year or Darian Kennard for 4 years? Darian Kennard hasn't seen the field yet for the Kansas City Chiefs. And he was a 5th round pick. Would you rather have Chase Young for 1 year or Jalen Watson for 4? I'd probably rather have Jalen Watson for 4. The 7th round picks, low key, as of late, the 6th and 7th round, have been just incredible for the Chiefs. Jalen Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Johnson, who's a special teams guy last year, and your 6th round pick 2 years ago, Trey Smith. But it could be Bo Pete Keys. Remember Bo Pete, Thacarius Keys, right? He's not playing in the NFL anymore. 7th round pick out of Tulane. Drafted him after Michael Dana in 2020. So I think that you could take a flyer on Chase Young. The problem is that his cap hit's a little bit higher than what you wanted. Do you know his cap hit, Kyle? I think it was something like, I want to, because he was the number 2 pick overall. I want to say it's like $3 million maybe. So his cap hit is a little bit higher. And to me, that would be the reason why I might steer away from a 1-year deal with Chase Young.
On Sport Track, it's listed as almost 11 million for this year.
Yeah, that's way too much there. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to negotiate down that cap hit. Yeah, I don't think you can't make that work. But the way Brett Veach is drafting, how good is Keandre Coburn, the 6th round defensive tackle out of Texas, going to be? How good is Nick Jones, the corner out of Ball State, is going to be? Because the heater that Brett Veach is on drafting wise, you'd rather have 4 years than 1 year. If they had picked up his 5th year option, now that's a bit different. Now you're talking about 2 years for Chase Young. And you're not going to give him a contract because, well, we got to see if you can actually do this thing as if you are healthy. So I don't know if I would lean no on making the trade. I would not do it. I think the Chiefs roster is what it is right now. I think the Chiefs roster is set. And you're hoping that Felix Uzama, Rashee Rice, the Shamari Connors, Omenahu, they produce. I think that's the number one thing right now for the Kansas City Chiefs. But every single free agent now, like free agent name, is going to be linked to the Chiefs. I mean, that's what it feels like. So that's kind of where I stand with the Kansas City Chiefs and where they're going to go moving forward. We got plenty more to get to. Don't forget We're going to hear from Andy Reid coming up at the bottom of the hour. He spoke to the media. I believe Jawan Taylor is getting ready to speak to the media right now. And we'll hear from Justin Reed as well when we talk all things Chiefs coming up in the bottom of the 1 o'clock hour and in the 2 o'clock hour. I'll get you some Chiefs audio. We will play another edition of Start, Bench, and Cut. I have no clue where you're going to go. Are you going to go sports-wise, Kyle, or are you going to go off the sports world beaten path? I'll be interested in that. I might even go a little SID talk with you. Might have to get into that as well. So, but we got a lot to get to coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. We'll get a quick timeout coming up next. Everyone loves the list. I'm so fascinated to see where this is going to go. Hit us up on the text line. Give me the situations in which it's just you don't want to be there when a Karen goes full Karen. Welcome back into Mic'd Up. Jake Levon along with Kyle Manthe here with you. We've got some fun audio from Andy Reid that we will discuss once you hear it. We'll also hear from Jawan Taylor and Justin Reid, the safety for the Kansas City Chiefs. All that coming up here in the next couple of minutes. Start bench cut as well coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. No Royals baseball today. The boys in blue got swept by the Miami Marlins in really not really close fashion. It was a close one at the end, but then big eighth inning for the Marlins. The Royals lost 6-1 the last 2 games. They're off today. They'll be taking on Baltimore tomorrow. But we had a chance to hear one Andy Reid. Andy Reid met with the media today, spoke for about 10 minutes or so. Here is what Big Red had to say today.
I'll start with Norma Hunt. We're obviously sad that she passed away. The thing that gets you through these things is trying to focus on the good times. And we had so many good times with her, and just the picture, the image of her greeting Lamar up there kind of fires me up. And, it'll be a great reunion. And there's such love between them and the family. So we're here to support them, the family, and our memories of Norma are great. So with that, it's good to get these guys out here working. They're working their tail off. This week has been all against opponents. So the AFC West, and then our first opponent against the Lions. So we got some work. We got the Lions tomorrow. We've had the AFC West the last 3 days. So, but the guys are working hard. They're challenging each other within the rules that you're confined to. So, but it's a good foundation for them as we work into the veteran mini camp, and then into training camp. Most of all, they'll at least have a foundation there going up to St. Joe. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Hey, they just early impressions of Sky Moore.
Yeah, Sky's worked real hard this offseason, so and he looks like he's on the same page with Patrick. He's doing a nice job, and again, we just in these camps he's been doing a real nice job. Let's keep on advancing as we go, and he'll do that because he's wired right to do that.
Andy, you learn anything about Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor from a few weeks of coaching those guys now?
Yeah, so this is all pass game. There's no run game, and then the defensive line pulls off, once they get up the field. So, but listen, they're smart guys. They're taking good sets and doing the things that they're supposed to do, and you can tell that they've played before. They're handling themselves right, but and digging in on the new protections and the snap count in itself, and all those things. Make sure they're ready once we get up to training camp.
When you've had turnover at the receiver position, especially like last couple of years, and you've got not only new guys coming in, but then rookies coming in as well, is there a custom game plan as far as how you prep each one of those guys and get them up to speed, or is there a one-size-fits-all approach? How do you do it when you got that many new players?
Yeah, well, you kind of teach them the whole as you're going. One day at a time. So, the whole to the part and not the part to the whole. So we give them the whole shebango, then we break it down for them in little pods each day, although they have all the information that they can go look at the big picture of things. So, but we try to taper the individual practices into a pretty tight window there for them so they can focus in on what they need to.
Sorry, Coach.
You're all right.
On the eve of the veteran mini camp, when the rookies get here, everything's so new. I just wonder from a skill position standpoint, what your thoughts have been on Rashee Rice and Deneric Prince so far.
Yeah, I think they've both have done a nice job. Again, I think the volume and the tempo and all those things, the newness of the plays, they're in a huddle. What I'm saying? So that's all, and the speed that we go at, and then the speed obviously that the defense presents. So they're in the different coverages. So they're working through all that, and that's a positive.
With Deneric specifically, we saw him make a catch out there. What have you learned about him with
Which one?
Deneric Prince?
Yeah.
We saw him make a
Yeah, no, listen, I saw Veach over there coaching you guys up on that. He's got really good hands. I mean, and it looked like he caught one right when Veach was there. So in the end zone right in front of you guys, but he's done a nice job. Again, that's part of the game. So another part is the running game, which we're not doing, except versus air. And so we'll have to see how all of that goes once we get there. But he's a sharp kid. He's got skill, it looks like. I mean, he's big and can run and has a good feel for things right now.
Coach Felix had been limited at rookie camp. It seems like he's come along now. Is he back to full and everything's okay?
Yeah, he is. He had that surgery, the thumb surgery, and then had a hamstring too. And so he's worked through all that, and he's back in the swing, and it looks like he's feeling better every day, which is a good thing.
What was it like being around last year's team at the White House? Maybe some guys like EB, Frank Clark, some guys who've gone on to other places. What stands out from that group of what y'all?
I'll tell you what, it was great. You know what was neat? I mentioned it to you down there that, you put all the politics aside. So you're not Democrat, you're not Republican, you're not independent, you're an American. And I thought that was the neatest part of the thing, that everybody was just enjoying the history, and they laid out a spread for us of food that was great. And the hospitality was phenomenal. They had different military guys in each of the rooms. They let us go in, and the guys were experts on the paintings and the architecture and whose special room this was and that room. And so you got the history, everything from the oldest table to the oldest picture. You got the history of that, and I think the guys appreciated that part. And then, listen, President Biden spent a ton of time with the guys and myself and some of the coaches there. So he's obviously a Delaware fan, and we got a lot of those blue hens on our team, so in the coaches ranks there, and Brett. So he spent a ton of time with us, more than we thought. We were thinking maybe 10 minutes you get from the president, but he was very giving there. Yeah.
Did you go with Green Bay back in the day, or is this
I
your
did.
first time?
I did. Yeah. Oh, Green Bay. It was a little different than that. Some of the restrictions are tighter now, but they tried not to make you feel that way, that we were it, and they appreciated us being there. I mean, it was, like I said, the hospitality was phenomenal. My hat goes off to them.
How impactful was it for you and the other guys and people in the organization who were here in 19 and didn't get that experience then to get it now?
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I mentioned that, when I had a chance to talk, that we're enjoying the heck out of this thing. I mean, and I wish all the guys from that team could have been there too, but it was great. That was great. And we had a ton. They divided off, which I know some of you guys were there, but they divided off the crowd. So you had the team and the Chiefs on the organization on one side, and then on the other side you had people that were Chief fans and that live either in DC and work or in the surrounding area there. So, and both sides were fully loaded. There were a lot of people, and that was kind of fun to see. And then the people that were outside by the buses, they let people get relatively close there, and again, the support was great. You felt that for the guys and the guys that left had a blast with it. They just jumped in like it was not, like they were still on the team and rolling. So.
How different has the experience been this time and the demands of everybody's time? Because after 54 with COVID, there was none of this kind of hoopla and everything.
Yeah. So in a weird way, I think they were excited to have us there, just because of that. President Biden had played football at Delaware, so he was. I'm sure it's a breath of fresh air where he didn't have to worry about talking to the guys. He could just talk to them, and he did. And I think the guys loved that part. I think he loved it. So it was neat.
Couple more guys.
Coach Reed, you have Chiefs night at the game coming up on Monday. I don't know if you saw Travis Kelce throw out the first pitch at Cleveland.
Yeah, he's been working hard.
Yeah, have you been coaching him up?
Yeah, I think Pat has. Yeah, Pat's been on him. He's working hard at it. I think you're going to get better performance this time. He can throw now. It's just get it straight there.
Coach, so much of Kadarius since he's been here is just making sure that he stays on the field. He looks good from all views, but how has he been feeling day to day?
Yeah, no, he's doing good. So it's good to have him out there, and I think he's having fun, and developing a relationship there with everybody, the quarterback in particular.
Nate and then Nick.
Andy, you mentioned how the food was excellent at the White House. Can you give specifics as to what was all involved in the spread?
Yeah, so they did have some good stuff. They had a grill. I've never had this before. So a French toast, grilled cheese, and ham sandwich that they sprinkled a little bit of powdered sugar on. I mean, it was phenomenal. The guys were, and there was abundance of this, and then they had chicken fingers, exotic chicken fingers to boot. And then maybe the best part was they had, which I hadn't seen before, but little bite-sized squares of the heart of the watermelon. So whoever, my hat went off to the chef. I went back and talked to him. I mean, I just go, you guys are unbelievable. I mean, whoever cut all of that out and had the patience to do that, that goes off to him.
All right. Do we want to talk about the AFC West and that they're working towards the AFC West teams right now? I mean, they're putting in plays for the game coming up in November, December, right now. That is the planning that the Chiefs and Andy Reid have. Do you want to talk about really not a whole lot of updates on Donovan Smith, Juwan Taylor, Felix Uzama is had, of course, his thumb injury, dealing with a hamstring, but he's back, ready to go. Or do we want to talk about what the hell is an exotic chicken finger? Seriously, what is an exotic chicken finger? The chicken finger in and of itself is pretty simple. It is a chicken meat shaped in a finger type, structure. What makes it exotic? Is it like the sauce? Are we dipping it in different sauces? Is that exotic chicken fingers? Is it where the chicken is from? Hey, these chickens are from so-and-so. They're from upstate New York. They're crazy. Is it the spices of the chicken fingers? What makes a chicken finger exotic? I'm serious. Do you have an answer, Kyle? What makes an exotic chicken finger?
I would think it has to be something with the way it's made. I don't think it's a sauce thing. He would have mentioned the sauce if it was a sauce thing. I don't think that's it. So it's got to be like shape or something.
Are we going with a different way of breading it? Is it a different way that I need to know what an exotic chicken finger is. Like, I want one now. I want to know what an exotic chicken finger. I think, I love chicken fingers. Who doesn't like a chicken finger?
Maybe it's a Fulton Fish situation and picks, or it didn't happen. Maybe he was exaggerating a little bit about the exotic chicken fingers.
I like this where we're going at with we're going to call it a Fulton thing where picks, or it didn't happen. I'm absolutely on board with that, Kyle. I'm now invested. I need to know. Now I want to go to the White House. I need to be on the Super Bowl winning team so I can see these exotic chicken fingers. I need more of this. The first question asked to anybody of note for the Kansas City Chiefs players, like I hope Juwan Taylor and Justin Reed were asked about these exotic chicken fingers. I don't know if they were, but if so, the media department missed out. I got to text Matt Derrick. That's my very first question coming up next week. Matt, what the hell is an exotic chicken finger? I'm fascinated by that. Like, does Canes have them? Raising Canes? Which, Topeka, we need a Raising Canes. Come on. Figure it out. If I had the money, I would franchise a Raising Canes. We have 140,000 people here. 138,000 of them eat chicken fingers. Get a Cane's here, damn it. But otherwise, that was also, have you ever had a French toast grilled ham and cheese sandwich sprinkled with powdered sugar? Like, is that pretty much just pretty simple? It's you make French toast and put grilled cheese, you grill some cheese, can you grill a cheese, throw some ham on it, put it together. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, that would taste delicious. I love a good hot ham and cheese, is what we call them, where it's grilled cheese, but you throw in ham in there as well. I make those a lot. Those are easy to make. Never thought to use the Texas toast. One, because that's more expensive than just your generic $1.10 bread. But then never really thought to, French that toast and put it on there. I'm going to try that, though. Best part about this is my wife's not here right now. She's gone for work. She has no idea. I'm going to, surprise the hell out of her. I'm going to be like, sweetie, I got dinner tonight. And she's going to be like, what are we making? And then I'm going to make French toast grilled ham and cheese sandwiches. And she's going to think I'm, Bobby Filet or, Gordon Ramsay up in here. So big thanks there to Big Red when it comes to that. So, yeah, I have no idea what an exotic chicken finger. It used to be a strip. That is true. When did chicken strips become chicken fingers?
Maybe we just wanted to stick with the body part themes for naming things.
But you know what I'm saying? It used to be chicken strips.
Yeah.
It did. Now it's chicken fingers. Because it's more of a strip than a finger to me.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the stuff that I think about. Also from the text line, isn't that a Monte Cristo sandwich? I have no idea what a Monte Cristo. I'm going to Google it now. I can tell you this. The movie, The Count of Monte Cristo. Have you ever seen that? Good movie. I'd recommend that. Turkey ham and cheese in a sandwich that is cooked French toast style. So yeah, add a little turkey to it. All right, then. That's what I'm going to tell my wife. Honey, I got this. We're going to be cooking Monte Cristos. I'm going to make some Monte Cristos today.
Same thing they have at the White House.
Yeah.
You can throw that in there.
Yeah. That's what that, and until I figure out what an exotic chicken finger is, I don't know. From the text line, Dino Nuggets. Fun fact, we had Dino Nuggets yesterday at the house. Son, what do you want to eat? He looked at me like, duh, chicken nuggets. All right. Dad, can we get the ones with the dinosaurs? You're in luck, bud, because that's the ones we got. He was so pumped. Oh, man. He's maybe a future little Patrick Mahomes. Loves ketchup. He'll take some chips and dip the chips in ketchup. He's 3. I don't judge him yet, but I might be failing as a father. So we're going to hear from Justin Reed and Jawan Taylor coming up in the 2:00 hour. And we got a little start bench cut, all of that coming up. No Royals baseball today. They took it on the chin yesterday, 6-1. And as I've said this a few different times, I hope you took advantage of that and you made some money. There are 2 easy bets yesterday. Nuggets to cover the 3 and the Marlins to beat the Royals. If you didn't take advantage of that, shame on you. Very, very simple. We got a lot more to get to coming up in the 2:00 hour. Stay with us here on 580 WIBW. Thursday. Jacob Vaughn, along with Kyle Manthe, filling in for Fulton Caster. We've got Start Bench Cut coming up. I have no idea where young Kyle is going to go. He might go sports. He might go food related. I have no idea. But food is now in the discussion in the text line in our YouTube thread. It is very much a topic as Andy Reid met with the media. Said some interesting things. One, they work on AFC West opponents right now in OTAs in June. Says Donovan Smith and Juwan Taylor, smart, understanding the new scheme, getting the snap counts down. I think Rashee Rice doing a good job. Felix Anudike-Uzomah getting healthy after a little hamstring injury and thumb surgery. But we're trying to figure out what exotic chicken fingers are. Because Andy Reid, he brought up the spread. This is why you know Andy Reid is a food guy. He brought up the spread multiple times, but then was even asked, I think it was Nate Taylor from The Athletic, who actually asked what was on the spread. And he mentioned about the French toast grilled ham and cheese sandwiches. As we've now come to find out, that is a Monte Cristo sandwich. Shout out to the text line. But here's where I wonder, from the text line, from the 785, maybe exotic is not the style, but the meat, like ostrich or something. Then it would be ostrich fingers, right? Or is chicken fingers just eating? And your response would be, oh, I'm eating cereal. Well, cereal could be anything. It could be Cheerios. It could be Captain Crunch. It could be Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It could be Lucky Charms. It could be Fruit Loops. Pops. So maybe is chicken fingers just the broad term of stripped meat is what it is. Because if it is like ostrich, or maybe it's like alligator, or, deer, buffalo. You can, put anything into, cut it into strips of meat. But I'm assuming it was chicken because they said chicken fingers. So are we thinking it was chicken, or are we thinking chicken fingers is just, like it's like cereal or like a taco? Like you can have different meats in tacos, but then the term chicken to me is specific to the bird,
I think that's where the difference is that there's not a cereal called cereal. And if you say chicken fingers, you're implying there's
chicken, right? Yeah. Maybe
So
Andy Reid didn't know. Maybe he was like, yeah, these are chicken fingers, but maybe they tasted different and exotic chicken. I sent a text out to Matt Derrick to find out what exotic chicken fingers are, because I'm fascinated by this. I love chicken fingers. I don't know who doesn't. From the text line, chicken fingers is just a broad term. See, I think chicken fingers is specific. It's chicken fingers. It's chicken.
That could have been.
So now I have to ask people if they say, what are you having? They said chicken fingers. I'm going to say, well, what kind? And they're going to say chicken? Or are they going to say regular?
I think that's how most people would respond to you.
Yeah. These are the things that sometimes get brought up. And you gotta solve them sometimes. Just the way it works. We're going to hear from Justin Reid, safety for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to hear from Juwan Taylor here in just a little bit, but this is what the safety of the Kansas City Chiefs, Justin Reid, had to say to the media today, the final day of OTAs.
How was the White House?
Man, the White House was sick. It was sick. I didn't know what to expect when we first went out there, but it was a good time. I'm like an information junkie too, so I really liked the art curators there talking about the artwork and the furniture. And then we got to talk with some of the corporals and Marines and Secret Service officers. It's really cool.
what information did you kind of retain from some of that?
Well, the best story I got for you, one of our curators was telling me about this portrait that was hanging up and said that maybe 60, 70 years ago, this American family took a trip to India and they saw this portrait. It's covered in dirt, muddy, whatever. So they end up going to the store, and the people who were selling it sold it for $7, but wanted to keep the frame, right? So they kept the frame, they get the portrait, bring it back to America. Turns out it was an original painting of like Philadelphia from like colonial time or whatever. Portrait's worth $300 million. They bought it for $7. You know what I mean? It was freaking nuts. So it was like, yeah, there's a couple of stories like that. And then we got the tour, the main level. And most of the time when you have public tours, they have it roped off. And we got to actually go and like be in it and sit on the furniture. Me and a couple of guys got to go talk to some of the White House staff about our experiences and championship habits and handling pressure and give our insights to it. So it was really unique.
How tough is it, because you have that moment and you're going to have the ring ceremony, I believe, next week. How tough do you think it's going to be to like turn the page in a sense of knowing that you have to do it? I know this will be the first time in your career you have to do it.
Honestly, the page is already turned. Like we're out there working. We're out there chasing another championship. We're starting to build a new culture. Every year is different. It's a new team. We know nothing's going to be given to us. We got an even bigger target on our back than we did last year. Now we get to take a moment every once in a while to go back in the history book or the yearbook and, enjoy that moment and have some of our former players, Juan and Juju and some of those guys come back. You get to talk to them a little bit. But as far as the mentality in the room, we're working to, continue this dynasty and continue to build on what we did last year, not just rest on our laurels of what we already did.
And speaking of turning the page, it seems like Brian is really not shy and
love it.
Getting involved.
Love it. Super Brian Cook.
Yeah.
Super vocal guy. Where we are right now, as far as last year, we had so many new faces, myself included. Where we are right now on the communication side and really knowing the defense, we're light years ahead of where we were last year. It's really exciting. You can feel it in the communication and the energy out there. Guys know the program now. We're bought into the system. And it's about bringing the new guys now that we have along and catching them up. And I think it'll be easier to do than last year because last year there's just so many new faces. It just takes a little bit longer to bring it all together. But this year, Chuck's been doing well. We're going to keep bringing guys along. Really like Drew Tranquil a lot. He's been adjusting really nicely.
Specific to you, where do you think you made that biggest jump going from being a new face last year to this year coming off the White House visit?
Oh man, the confidence. Like I'm a guy, I see myself as a play caller on defense. I enjoy the X's and O's, the checks, really getting everybody situated and put in the best position. And then playing a couple of different roles from strong safety to free safety to dime linebacker to sometimes kicker. Like having confidence in those roles and not having to be out there and think and just be able to play, like as offenses make shifts to make those adjustments rapidly, have ourselves in the right positions and leverages and to play fast at that point, really start to take the game to a new level. And I think in the second half of the year, you start to see that. And I'm planning to continue that progression this year.
What about you? When did you start to feel comfortable with what you were doing last year?
About a week or two after the first time we played the Bengals. A week or two after that, I really started to get it down because we do a lot of stuff, man. We do a lot of stuff. And then we had a lot of new faces. So it's kind of hard because there wasn't as much help to, so we're all like kind of, trying to figure it out together. But this year, guys are just so much sharper just from having experience in the team that the comfort level is so much higher and the confidence is higher.
Not that long, not many regular season games. I mean, just a few games to go.
Mm-hmm.
That was when you kind of got that down.
It definitely there is a little bit of a steeper learning curve here than maybe some other football programs just because of the depth of the playbook. But once guys get it, man, it's really exciting and electric because the pressures hit home. I mean, Coach Spags and the defensive staff and offensive staff do a phenomenal job game planning. They challenge us with the load of it, but in the end, it makes us a better team.
Spags always talks about the volume that you guys had and you throw at the rookies, and I'm sure that you experienced last year. What do you make of Spags and his system, and how impressed are you that you can do so many different things with that?
Well, it makes it extremely hard to game plan. I've been in part of systems where you might go into a game with, 6 or 7 plays, and we want to just do what we do. And in this system, we go into a game with 30 plays. So it's extremely difficult for opposing offenses to try and game plan for that because we want to have a different pressure schemed up for you every week. You're not going to know what's going to come. So as long as guys are in tune and run the pressures correctly, typically they hit home.
Justin, there's a few guys around the league who run into problems with the NFL's gambling rules.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like guys understand what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do in terms of?
I think that we can clear it up a little bit. I think that there has been some trial and error and some unfortunate incidents. As far as my experience personally, like talking about how even making bets inside of the locker room, you know what I mean? You had some guys suspended from Detroit for about that, even if it wasn't on NFL games. Just the instance of making a bet on anything inside a locker room is an infraction, right? So I think that having some more clarity on those details and really driving it home, I think that guys now know the severity of it because it's starting to happen a couple of times now. You know, Calvin really just getting reinstated from it, and the guys has happened this year. So just some awareness and some caution and some leadership there, I think will help.
Justin, looking at how we're hoping these young DBs can grow going into this season, how much of a benefit do you think it was that not only did they play last year, but like Jalen, Joshua, Brian, they made huge plays in the AFC title game in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think that leaves some bounds for their confidence because, you know, Josh makes the plays against Devontae Adams, arguably the best wide receiver in the league. You know, Jalen Watson coming up with a big-time pick in the Cincinnati Bengals game in the playoff game to really ice the game. I think that moments like that allow them the confidence to be like, I'm a player here and I deserve and I've earned my spot here, but not to become satisfied with that, but to continue to work and drive it. You know, we have a competitive atmosphere to work, but still to have pelts on the wall, have those moments, I think is huge for their confidence and makes us all a better team.
Yeah, with the softball game coming up tomorrow, is there anything you're kind of looking forward to with it?
We got a couple of guys that claim they're pretty good baseball players, so I'm excited to see them put their money where their mouth is and see, you know, some guys hit swing for the fences on the home run derby. I'm going to get out there. I'm not making any promises, but we have some other defensive players that have a baseball background. B. Cook is one of them, so we get to see what those guys got.
So that is what Justin Reed had to say to the media today. Cool stories about the White House, paintings and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of interesting. While that interview was airing, some news breaking involving a former Kansas City Chief. The Denver Broncos are signing Frank Clark to a 1-year deal up to $7.5 million. The deal includes $5.5 million guaranteed base, $1 million in makeable incentives, another challenging $1 million in incentives. Know what offer the Kansas City Chiefs were not willing to do for Frank Clark. The Chiefs were not willing to give Frank Clark $5.5 million guaranteed, and were not willing to give basically $2 million in incentives. So Frank Clark going to the Denver Broncos. Right now, cap space wise, the Broncos have $2 million in cap space. So they will now be down to $5 million. If it's a $5.5 million roster salary, guaranteed salary. So the Denver Broncos, $10 million under the cap, now will be $5 million. So Frank Clark joins the Denver Broncos. Chiefs trying to go younger, the Broncos trying to go older, and just trying to get any type of pass rush, it seems. First thing I thought about with this was two things that jump to your mind first and foremost. One, it doesn't look like Frank Clark is going to be adding to his playoff sack total. Yes, that is a shot at the Broncos because they're not going to make the playoffs. So the Broncos won't make the playoffs, and therefore Frank Clark will not be able to catch Bruce Smith for playoff sacks because we know he's up there. Frank Clark was Do I think Frank Clark is worth $5.5 million? I mean, he probably is to a team that doesn't have pass rushers. He probably is. The Chiefs got younger. Would you rather have George Karlaftis or Frank Clark? Well, I'd rather have George Karlaftis. I'd rather have Mike Dana because he's cheaper. I'd rather have Charles Omenihu because he's younger and I think he's a better player. I'd rather have Felix Enudike-Uzama because he's going to be there for the next 4 or 5 years. So there's a reason why the Chiefs didn't go get Frank Clark. You know, I know Chris Jones was trying to get Frank Clark back. You know, was trying to say, you know, bring the Shark back, that type of thing. But there's really just not enough space for Frank Clark, especially if you count Omenihu as a defensive end. So Frank Clark signing with the Broncos for a 1-year deal. Now, I first thought that, well, he's not going to add to his playoff sack total. And then number 2, I mean, this is like Neil Smith 2.0, right? Neil Smith. Do you even know who Neil Smith is, Kyle?
I can't say I do.
You can't say it. Yeah. I mean, he played for the Chiefs next to Derek Thomas. When he got a sack, he did his sack celebration was a baseball swing, like a Louisville Slugger type of swing. He had the big, gigantic, now you got the Breathe Right nasal strips, you know, that are kind of small. I mean, he used like athletic tape and it went like well over his nose, like past his eyes. Like that was his look. Neil Smith, really good player. Left the Chiefs to go to the Broncos. And then the Broncos won a Super Bowl. It's like the opposite. But yeah, Neil Smith, really good player. In fact, I want to say he had double-digit sacks a few different times. Yeah. With the Chiefs, he had 14 and a half, led the league with 15 sacks and 93, all pro. Yeah, 90s, and then played with the Denver Broncos in 97 and 98. So got 2 Super Bowls with the Denver Broncos. Finished, I don't remember his career in San Diego in 2000, but yeah, going the Neil Smith approach, going from Kansas City to Denver, but Frank Clark going to the Denver Broncos. So Denver fans are going to get the Frank Clark experience. How about this? Josina Anderson just tweeted this out. Frank Clark to me on why he chose the Broncos on FaceTime. Quote, the situation with Sean Payton is good for me. I get to play alongside Randy Gregory, stay in my division that I am very familiar with. I also want to help the Broncos get back to the mountaintop. So Frank Clark headed to the Denver Broncos. Got no part. He says all of that, and that's the right thing to say. My guess is that the Denver Broncos paid Frank Clark more money than anybody else. Now, maybe it's I'm going to stick it to the Chiefs, that type of thing. I have no idea, but heading to the Denver Broncos. We'll hear from Jawaan Taylor, the starting right tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, also spoke to the media. Here is what Jawaan Taylor had to say.
Jawaan, how you been acclimated to the team so far?
I've been loving it, man. It's been so fun. I'm so excited to be here and be a part of such a great team.
Had you had any relationship before with Donovan, and just what was it like to join him to the team, knowing that you guys are going to be the 2 ends of the offensive line?
When I heard he was coming, it was so glad. I was glad to hear it, man. He's a great player. I've been knowing him for years. We connect because we had the same offensive line coach, George Warhop. So that's how we knew about each other for the past few years.
When you first signed, there had been some talk about you jumping over the left side. Has it been a relief in a sense that you're just going to stick to the right side, or how did you take the news?
I'm just here to help the team win, man. Wherever the team needs me. I told Coach Reed if they need me on the left, I'll play the left. They need me on the right, I'll play the right. So, I feel like I'm athletic to do either one. So wherever the team needs me, I'm there.
And I didn't know we're a long time away from this, but in a situation where in game you needed to slide over, do you think you'd feel comfortable?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely, and especially learning the offense now, learning the system. I'll be ready.
Coming from Jacksonville, Coach Peterson, a lot of ties with him and Coach Reed. What have you seen any similarities in the playbook so far?
Oh yeah, definitely similarities. I feel like it's a few more moving parts in this offense, a little more advanced for the offensive line. But I've been learning it and I've been enjoying it.
How much more advanced is it?
Oh, not crazy, not too much more advanced because it's definitely similar, but it's definitely a great scheme.
Coach Reed talks about this is a passing camp, and when it comes to the offensive line, you can't really touch each other every time.
Right.
How do you use your time? What are you learning this time?
Really just soaking in everything I could soak in from Coach Heck. Just tweaking and adjusting different things with my game just to make me better. So anything I can do to do that, I've been soaking it in, just taking notes in meetings, but also just learning the system, learning how they like things done around here, and just doing my part.
Do you find that there are maybe some specific things that Coach Heck wants you to do as far as either scheme-wise, technique-wise that's maybe different than what you've done in the past? Or?
Not really. Just just tweaking different things, just adjusting small things. Different techniques, but not changing too much. But it's always room for improvement.
How do you perfect your technique in this out of camp?
Really just doing it in Indy, and then everything you do in Indy, just carry it over the team. So when I go against the guys, of course we can't do too much, but definitely try to take meaningful reps every time I'm out there.
Are y'all seeing the chemistry kind of form with the five that y'all have so far?
Oh, most definitely. We have a very good O-line room, not just the five and the ones, but also the rest of the guys. Very, very good group of guys.
How much time off the field have you spent with some of these guys in the room? I know that in previous years, the offensive line would have get-togethers and things like that.
I've spent a lot of time with them so far. Pretty much every week we try to do something fun, whether we go to dinners or do something like that, just to build the relationship and build that bond with each other. But I've been enjoying it. Everybody here is very welcome.
Have y'all had the big man steakhouse dinner yet?
Yes, we did. Actually, Pat took us out last week. We went to Ocean Prime. It was really good. Everybody enjoyed each other, but it was good.
What kind of steak you get?
I didn't get a steak that night. I think I got some sushi, and I just tried some of the appetizers and stuff. I didn't go too crazy.
Did you pay?
No, I didn't pay.
Last one. I know Donovan said that he had heard a lot about an Andy Reid training camp.
Mm-hmm.
From your vantage point, what are some of the veterans told you about what to expect when the team does go to St. Joe?
Just be in shape. That's really it. Just be in shape and be ready to go. We heard it's hard, but we definitely got to make sure we show up in shape and ready to go.
All right.
Thank y'all. Appreciate that.
Few things there from Juwan Taylor. One, I'm going to go ahead and guess when Patrick Mahomes is taking out his teammates that he's the one footing the bill. I think that's just kind of expected. Pat, you're the quarterback. You got a $400 million contract. I think you got this bill, man. Appreciate that. Now, if you're just going out as like buddies, then you got to pay your own, right? But if it's like a team dinner, I think Pat's footing that rascal. I really, really do. I think that's going to be the case. Also, that is funny. What should you do for an Andy Reid training camp? Show up in shape. Another thing I'll die on. Another hill I'm going to die on, right? Need to write these down, like the hills that I'm going to die on. Zach Watkins was in here, and we talked about some hills that, I'm going to die on. And I didn't even get maybe my biggest one. People who don't show up to shape, people who don't show up to camp in shape, or the people who say, I'm in the best shape of my life. Your job is to be in shape. Your job is to work out. To say you're not in shape means that you don't do your job seriously, or you're lazy. You just basically, anybody who tells me, I'm in the best shape of my life. So you were lazy last year. You didn't work. If you show up out of shape and fat, there's zero excuse for that if you're a professional athlete. You spend 2 hours a day. What the hell are you doing the other 12 hours that you are awake? I'm not impressed that DK Metcalf looks the way he does. I'm not impressed. Right? Like Shania Twain, that doesn't impress me much. Sorry, it doesn't. You wake up, you have unlimited funds, so you can eat the best food. You get the best training out there. You get training from your strength and conditioning coach. Everywhere you go, you'll get to go for free. If I was DK Metcalf, and I read that because DK Metcalf is just jacked, right? If DK Metcalf walks into somewhere, they're not going to charge him, right? That's the whole point. You know, like if a professional golfer shows up, they're not going to charge him. Hey, just golf on a golf course, right? No one's going to charge you. Who's a famous musician? Like, if Taylor Swift walks into a music store, do you think Taylor Swift's paying for anything? No, the music store's going to be like, here you go, play it for free. So there's no reason for you not to be in shape. You wake up at 8 o'clock, right? What do you do from 8 until 11 o'clock at night? If you are a professional athlete, your job is to spend 2 hours a day working out. Oh no, what are you going to do the rest of the 10 hours? I can't stand that. And the more and more I talk about it, the more and more it upsets me. Like the people who have a 8 to 5 with 2 kids who are in shape and fit and all that, I'm impressed. Trust me, right? My son woke me up today at 5:45. I got a regular job, you know? No, if you are jacked and fit and in the best shape of your life with a couple kids, an 8 to 5, tip of the cap, sir. You can brag about that. Now, that's not a direct negative to Juwan Taylor. So they just told Juwan Taylor, show up in shape. Oh, you mean show up to do your job that you're supposed to do? Furious. Just, that makes me so mad. There's some more news that's going to make me mad. We'll get a timeout. We got a little start, bench, and cut. I'm going to yell at UKU football. I'm furious with UKU football. We'll get to that coming up here on Mic'd Up.
I wanted to start the 60 because you can do anything in 60 minutes. Bench 20 because you probably can't do a good drama in 20-minute episodes.
No,
You're
not a
stuck
drama.
to
It's got to be a comedy. It's got to be a comedy or a rom-com, if you will. Yeah.
And then just cut 40 because it's just kind of awkward, stuck in the middle.
Okay, so you're going the kind of the we're at the same 20 minutes is right in the middle. So you like the hour-long episodes.
You can do a lot more with it. It's not as contained.
See, I think you can get in everything you need to in the 40 minutes. The 60 minutes is too long. What's the best show you've watched recently?
Best show recently, Succession just ended on
So
HBO.
you were a Succession guy?
That was another hour-long one.
Yeah, I
Good.
haven't watched that one. We watched The Diplomat. It's on Netflix. Oh gosh, she's a really good actress. Is it Carrie Russell? Yeah, Carrie Russell's in it. Yeah, I like Carrie Russell. She's good. Yeah, I like the show. It's like a spy kind of ambassador type of deal.
Those are good.
I enjoyed
good
that.
types.
So I watched The Diplomat. So that's a good question. Two completely different answers. That's good stuff. Coming up next, we are going to get mad at KU football here on 580 WWW.